Okay, hombre. I think they caught on to you being DL. Ándale, muchacho. Ándale.
Old school Mexican dads will cut off their sons for being gay, but they won't cut off their boys that be sucking their when they get drunk.
Baby, that man spilled all kind of horchata.
So this is why I hate TikTok, because this morning I stumbled across a video where it was talking about Mexican construction workers and then being on the DL. Now, yeah, I don't give a shit what you do. That's your fucking business. But I could remember when I was younger, and I'm talking 12, 13, 14 years old, and I used to work in a plastering business, doing hod carrying and carrying scaffold and shit like that, just being a helper. But I could remember the Mexican men that worked there and the shit that they would talk about, the shit that they would say, and the things that they would do to each other, thinking that that shit was funny. But now with all this shit coming to light, those guys weren't playing around. That's hilarious. You know, they would talk about, you know, people being gay, which there's no problem with that. If you're fucking gay, you're gay. Who gives a shit, right? This your fucking business. I don't have to deal with it. But makes me wonder, like, what was really going on after work when they were talking about going and buying more beer and shit and heading off to the store and them taking a longer than normal break. What do you think? Drop it in the comments.
This guy at work would tell his friend, they were after some drinks, dame chiquito, way, dame chiquito. We're grabbing his thigh and everything, bro, caressing his head and everything. You know what that means, man? Give me the little one, give me the little one. Grabbing onto his thigh and shit. And the friend would just push him away, like, ay, cálmate, güey, ahorita no, más al rato. Like, oh, chill out, bro, not right now, later. And then everybody would laugh, like, but trust me, these fools will go to the same room. Wah, wah, wah. And they had kids and wives, bro. Kids and wives. And the wives and kids got to sit at home and wait for them to come home whenever they choose to go home. Because after work, working after hours, they ain't working after hours. They chilling after hours, dog. That HBO Max special type shit, no cap. If you know, you know. They doing something sus ass shit. Look, y'all mad I'm calling this out. Y'all not mad about y'all do, though. Y'all not mad about the wife y'all have affected, the friends y'all have affected, the kids y'all have affected. Y'all not mad about that, bro. Y'all mad about the fact that y'all got caught and then called out. Bootlickers talking, sending me messages talking about, you're ruining the community, bro. You're making us look wrong. I'm making you guys look wrong. But the fucking paisas at the gas stations drinking and hoping their friends ain't making us look wrong. The married dudes going after all these other guys ain't making us look wrong. I could go on, bro. They ain't making us look wrong. I'm making y'all look wrong. The dads that don't want to raise their kids because the kids are a certain way and they came out and they're free about it, but the dads ain't making us look wrong. You guys are a bunch of fucking bootlickers, dog. No cap, man.
A lot of you are finally catching on that a lot of your Mexican uncles are low-key gay. And what's even crazier is that a lot of these Mexican tios that be going to go get some more beer with their little friend over here with Pancho or whatever, they're like, we're gonna be back, we're gonna go to the fucking store and we're gonna get some beer, right? No. They be slobbering on each other, and that's why they take a long time. And the wife is like, ay, ¿qué pasó con él? Like, where is he at? You know, like, she's just trying to figure out where the fuck he's at. Whole time they're in the parking lot getting freaky with each other, but they will not allow their sons to be gay. If they find out their son is gay or their daughter, whatever, oh, it'll be a whole shit show. But secretly, they be doing a lot of freaky shit with a lot of men on the low. And I be saying this, especially the men that are abusive as well, the Mexican men that are abusive as well. They have such an issue with every man being gay, but they be gay themselves. It's because they can't accept it. So I know y'all have this in your family.
And you know why they don't want their sons to be gay? Because then they'll be around other gays, like their sons and daughters' mates, and other friends that are gay and not heterosexual. And that's going to tempt them. They're going to tell on themselves. They're not going to be able to keep that a secret for too long. So that's why they discourage their own children from being what they truly want to be, which is homosexual. It's 2025. Nobody gives a fuck. We're more mad that the DL shit is going on and it ain't that serious. And then you're so hypocritical that when your own child or family member or friend wants to walk in their truth, you diabolically try to disown them because you can't walk in your truth. So that's why they don't want their freaking kids to be gay. Because the gaydar of the gays will be Gaydar. Oh my God, y'all. It's becoming too much. But shout out to that young man for letting the cat out the bag. And a lot of us suspected it because I'm like, where's all this racism towards blacks and aggression? And every time I go somewhere, people used to say hello at the store, but now it's either just rudeness that to me stems from racism, but now it seems like it's stemming from they want somebody to be DL with their ass. And they are being passive aggressive. Or it's a language barrier, but it can't be that because I know Spanish. So it's giving, y'all don't want nobody to be gay because then they'll be able to tell that you yourself, which you are hating, are too gay. Oh my God, this is...
All of these down low Mexican fathers were eventually going to get exposed. The amount of videos that are made daily about down low Mexican fathers, like low key playing around with gay jokes or just touching and, you know, a little bit more than touching at the work site on a construction place is beyond me. And for some weird reason, it's like as soon as they get to the construction site, something clicks in their heads and they just want to, you know, get extremely freaky with the other workers.
Hey guys, I just wanted to come on here and make a video about all I've seen about these DL Mexican men because I myself have so much experience with these DL Mexican men, you guys. They want you, they want to just have fun.
Going to the liquor store after work with the boys automatically means you're gonna slurp each other. Because that's literally all I'm seeing on the timeline right now, bruh. It's either Mexican men are DLs, or Mexican fathers are DLs, or it's also blue collar workers are now DLs. First, it was if you're a cheater, then you are DL. Now you can't even hang out with the boys and pop a couple cold ones because you're automatically slurping each other. What's it gonna be next week? I'm not allowed to work outside in physical labor or else I'm gay? Like, I've been realizing a pattern lately. I feel like every single week there's something new about people attacking men. But I will say, you at the construction site, y'all need to chill. Because y'all low-key do be doing too much. And some of y'all, when y'all drink a little too much, y'all might be a little zesty. But all I want to let y'all know is, it's not everybody. Chill out. Because I'm starting to see a lot of people throw in like all blue-collar workers are like that. No, we're not.
Flag that turns me on, que me chupen el pinche culo la verga.
Has to be some idiot.
Al chile, perro. Hey, when I was 18, right? Was 40. She licked my culo. I love that shit. I loved it. I really did. Red flag that turns me on.
I was gonna let the DL Mexican dad shit just pass me by, but then they had this creator on here, Blue Collar Boys, I think it is. He really got on here and said that black people are the reason that the DL Mexican dad thing is being pushed out. That he saw on in his search that it's a bunch of black creators talking about it. Meanwhile, it was a Hispanic boy who bought the whole DL Mexican dad conversation here, which I think went viral. And somehow it's black people's fault that the conversation about Mexican dads liking chimichangas and burritos pushed all off in their booty and in their mouth is interesting premise for an argument here. But since we are here, and it's not like this discourse cannot help people, and since we like to blame black people for things, is no one going to talk about pedo Tio or the pedo primos? Let's talk about all the Hispanic people that got touched on by a family member that's still around the family. How about that?
Can y'all stop exposing down low Mexican men, please? The one that I had is not responding back to me. He used to hit me up, papi, papi. I'm like, yes, papi, what's good, papi? He's not popping me no more. Now he's scared. Now he's going into hiding. Let my poppy be free. Go find somebody else to go talk about. My God, now I gotta go find me another down low poppy.
This whole Mexican down low Tios and dads, it's not new. It's been going on forever. How do I know? Because I've serviced these people. And it happens a lot at the Mariscos restaurants or the little after hours. Like, trust me, shit goes down.
I don't know how I made it to DL Mexican TikTok, but I am set.
So this is a story on how I found out my dad was DL. So I hadn't talked to my dad probably a little over 10 years. My dad was in and out of prison. He was an addict. He wasn't in our lives. He now lives in Mexico. He's pretty clean. He lives a normal life. One day out of boredom, I decided to just hit him up. So I decided to make a Facebook because I knew he had a Facebook. I added him on Facebook. We talked for a little bit, and then we decided that he was going to call me the next day after he got out of work. The next day comes, he gets out of work. I get on Facebook to see if he'll call me because he was going to use Facebook to call me. I don't know if it's like Messenger or something, but yeah. So the time comes when he was supposed to call me and I don't get a call. So I message him. I'm like, hey, are you busy? And he tells me, oh, I'm tired from work. I'll call you another day. I'm like, oh, okay, I guess whatever. So I'm just playing around with Facebook because I haven't had Facebook in a while. But on my timeline, all I can see is everything he's doing because he's my only friend on Facebook. So all his activity is on this timeline. And I'm seeing him leave his phone number. I can see all his activity on my timeline because he's my only friend. So I'm seeing these posts where male escorts are posting like, hey, if you want to hit me up for a good time, leave your phone number and I'll text you. And he's leaving his phone number on a lot of posts for these male escorts. And I'm seeing this as it's happening. So it'll say like 1 minute ago, he's posting his phone number. 2 minutes ago, he's posting his phone number on a different post. So I send him a message and I'm just like, hey, do you like men? And he goes into like super defense mode. No, that wasn't me. I let somebody borrow my phone. But I can clearly see that 30 seconds ago, you posted your phone number right before I sent you a message. So it's like, So he completely denies it. And I'm like, whatever, I don't care enough. I'm an ally anyway, so I don't care what you like. It's none of my business. And it didn't bother me that he likes men. I don't care who you love. But what bothered me was when the times that I would see him and he was clean and sober, he acted like this holy, godly man. I remember one time he came over to my house out of nowhere and told me I couldn't watch Pokemon because Pokemon came from the devil. Like, sir, don't worry about what I'm doing. So yeah, that's how I found out that my dad is on the DL.
And if you're not Mexican and you're seeing these videos about Mexican DL men and you're like, is that true? Yes, bitch. It might as well be called fucking Brokeback Valley, not Brokeback Mountain, the way uncles be getting down. They will disown their gay son. They don't like gay people. But then when there's a group of 10, 15 men, and there's that one gay guy, and you're like, oh, maybe he's just cool with him. No, that's his buddy. That's why they be doing that fucking perico, because they don't want to realize a man is down there. And then when they return the favor, they don't want to remember. And if your man works construction or blue collar jobs in general, he doesn't tell you because he doesn't want you to think he's gay, but he's seen it. Go ask him. Be like, babe, I won't judge you, but is it true? He's going to say it's 100% true. I've seen it with my own fucking eyes.
So did y'all hear that Mexicans are down low? No big ass surprise there. Like, I feel like as Mexicanos, we always known that shit existed. It's always been a fucking thing because for the most part, our community is like taken over by el que dirán. Especially like boomers and Gen X. Like, they're always like, ¿qué va a decir la gente? Like, you know, and they'll go above and beyond to cover not just like their son being like gay or like finding out that they're down low, or like if they go to jail or anything, they'll cover that shit up. Like if, I don't know, like they were going to get a prize or some shit. Anyways, like this whole topic brought back a memory because when I was like 11 or 12, I wanted an iPod Touch. So my brothers took me to work for the entire summer just so I could buy it. And that was my reward for going to pick up trash. They used to make apartment complexes in downtown Dallas. And I remember they had like a whole crew of guys, right? And it's all going to tie into the down low Mexican. Okay, I don't know if my brothers were down low. I don't know about all that. I think one might have, the other one, I don't think it's possible. Like, I just like, nah. So this was like summer of like 2015-ish. I was young as, and school had ended, and then I started going with my brothers, and we'll wake up at 4 a.m. and we'll go to the gas station, pick up like Red Bulls and shit to get the day started. And I remember meeting the crew, and it was like 12 guys. They were like older men. They were like in their 40s, 30s. And there was this one guy, he was like 18 and he was freshly from Mexico and everything. And bro could have been a fucking model. Like he was like, I don't know what the fuck. This man was like a model and he was gay. Everybody knew he was gay. He wasn't like hiding it or anything, right? And he lived in downtown Dallas because some like white, well, according to his story, some white guys that like found them attractive, like they gave him an apartment complex and they paid for his apartment and everything. And he would like throw party, like there was parties. I mean, this is what I heard. I was stupid and young, but I would hear from my brothers talk Chisme, like that he would have parties and there'll be like a shitload of gay guys there. Cause I think this was like around Oaklawn. And if you know Oaklawn, I think that's the neighborhood in Dallas. So basically, like, they will always like talk shit. Like, they will talk shit, mad shit about him. Like, they'll talk mad shit. But then, like, after like all the framing and all the work was done and it was like lunch break, all the older guys, like los señores, they would low key like be like poking his stomach. Like, they would be like trying to like tangle him to the floor and shit. Like, and I remember being like, what the fuck? Like, how could they go from like being super homophobic to like play wrestling with this mother? And I was like, I remember like I had to like stay with that guy and I would pick up the trash and he would be like, here, like take this, take that. And he was really cool. He was really nice. And he was like, take this, take that. And like, he was he was like working hard. Like, man was like ripped. And, yeah. Okay. I just never understood why they would make like gay jokes and like tell him like, oh, like this about his ass and this about that. Like, and I was just like, bro, like y'all are grown ass men. Y'all had families. I have kids. Cause like they would talk about like their daughter and like graduation and all this bullshit. And I'm just like, but you, what? Like, and then they'll switch to like being like pinche joto, like this and that, like some mean ass shit. And then one day he just disappeared. He just stopped showing up. And I remember I asked my brother, I was like, what happened to the other guy? Like after like 4 or 5 weeks of working with this dude, because like he was cool. Like he would tell me about like his life and everything about Mexico and how he got here and he had no family. Like he was just working to like send money to his mom and everything. And he was grateful that, like the other guys were paying for his apartment. He was living like rent free. So he was just sending all the money to his mom. And I was like, hey, like what happened to, I forgot his name. I just remember his face. But my brother was like, oh yeah, like some of the older guys like went to his apartment for some reason because he had invited them and they were like laughing at it, making jokes like, oh, like, you know, they're gay and shit. And like, they probably went and like, you know, and they robbed him. They took all his money he had saved up for his family. They took his wallet and, they basically like, I heard that they, you know, and then they robbed him and he was so scared of them that he ended up just moving to another city. And that's crazy to me. It's just crazy, but it just brings back memories of how that shit played out. And I just remember feeling so bad, like, damn, like, cause he was cool, right? Like, I was young, but like, I didn't like judge him for who he was because I had no idea of what like being like homophobic was yet. So like, I didn't have anything imprinted, especially cause my dad's not like super homophobic. Like, that's the one weird thing. My dad is so old school. He's like a boomer, but my dad's not. Like my sister is kind of and my dad's super like supportive of it. Like he doesn't really like judge her for what she likes or anything. I think my mom is more, but it's just like I didn't have that ingrained in me. So like I took him as a person and he was cool, and it just sucks that they like low key, I don't know if they did or didn't, but they went to his apartment, robbed him, and I don't know, bro. I think they like low key beat him up, but that's what I heard. I can't confirm that, but just super fucked up story, and it's just like a memory I have. And like as soon as like I saw this whole video about construction, I was like, it shit took me all the fucking way back. I was like, holy shit, like I remember all that. But yeah, that's crazy, right? Crazy.
It's crazy to me that apenas people are realizing that a lot of your fucking uncles, a lot of your cousins, your fathers even, are in the closet and do fuck around with men. Dude, you could not. I have so much stories to tell, mama. Let me tell you the one story. I remember I was like, 19 at the time. He hit me up in Spanish, and I told him, look, I don't speak Spanish, because his son is probably could speak English and Spanish. But he was like speaking English, Spanish, whatever. And he tells me, what's it called that? He's like, I have a wife and kids and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh. I'm like, I'm not into that. What the fuck? He's like, come on, He's like, I like to be submissive, blah, blah, blah. Because I could tell he was translating this shit from Google to that. And I'm like, what the f? I'm like, ew. I'm like, I don't even go that way. But bitch, yes, a lot of your fucking family members, like I'm saying, your fathers, your cousins, your uncles, they're into that shit. They don't live their truth. These motherfuckers be the most homophobic. They don't accept their fucking kids. And yet they fucking hate. I'm saying, there's no unity in the Hispanic community. They be talking the most shit, saying that gay people spread an agenda. We don't spread an agenda. We live our truths at least, and we don't live a double life unlike you fucking download. And it's the truth, but nobody likes to say that shit. But apenas people are like realizing, like, yes, this has been going on, dude. Literally.
More DL stories? Yes, because when you look like this, it tends to happen more than once. Okay, so I'm not trying to like farm this, but I don't know when we're ever gonna have a conversation about Hispanic DLs. You know, so I was working at a car wash with my friend's brother, and we were having fun chilling until one day, I don't know, I come out to him, and as soon as I came out to him, so did he. So, but in the way of where he was trying to be discreet with it, he was trying to flirt with me, and as soon as he did that, I didn't know what to do, because I was like, this is weird. I don't, what? So, he was like 4 years older than me, so I was like, what, like 20? He was probably like 24, 25. We did hook up. I got attached, and then I moved away because we were living together. It was this whole thing. But I was also living with my best friend, so it was like it was crazy. Everything's good now, but just stay away from the DLs. Just please, do it for yourself. Do it for your future. Like, don't.
Speaking of the DL dads topic, and I seen that this had even spilled onto Mexi TikTok. While I was at work one day, and I'm headed to the fitting room, and this boy, maybe, I want to say the boy was like maybe 12 or 13. He could have just been an overgrown looking 12 or 13, but based on his clothes, I'm gonna say the boy was like 12 or 13. With granddad was shorter than him. Granddad got his hand wrapped around the boy waist into his like you know, like holding him but walking. Like, I look at the 12-year-old boy, his face was unbothered. Like, he was real like he only like started to like get a little shook up when like I turned my head and looked how I looked. But up until me and the 12-year-old locked eyes, his face was casual as ever. Granddad casual as ever. Like this the norm. So Granddad saw me, and then he moved his hand cause I said, what the f-? And then he moved his hand. So I seen his mama on another aisle. And then when I was approaching the mom, son like tries to like intercept me and his mom talking. Like, he was trying to like bombard me in the mom's conversation. The mom was telling me she don't speak good English, so she pulls out her phone for translation. Her son is like, mommy, and I'm like, and I wrote what I wrote in that phone. I said, watch him. I just caught, you know, what I saw down the aisle. And the mom, she looked at me like her whole face, like, it gave me chills how her whole face dropped. Like, it just, they left that store quickly. Like, when I say they, like, I looked again and them was leaving out the store. And it just make me wonder, like, how long this been going on? Do the family know? Did the boy ever tell anybody? Has his granddaddy pulled this shit with any of his other children or his other sons? So yeah, it definitely go down.
Everyone's talking about DL Mexican fathers, and it kind of reminds me of this research study that people might find interesting called No One Saw Us: Reputation as an Axis of Sexual Identity. And it's based on ethnographic fieldwork conducted in a rural town in Mexico. So not the Mexican-American context, but still helpful for thinking about reputation. What the investigators did was they looked at the gendered social organization of marital infidelity. So how infidelity was understood and culturally coded for men, for women, and whether or not they had sex with other men or women. And the authors here were kind of trying to challenge the idea that hegemonic Western gay and lesbian categories are globally meaningful. They had collaborators looking at sexuality like in 5 different countries. And they argue that sometimes it's helpful to look not just at who people hook up with, but who the audience for their behavior is and what they are allowed to see or know. And so, for example, in this town, they talk about 2 labels that men were categorized with: hombres normales, or normal guys, and maricones, or F-slurs, for guys who are effeminate and bottom. And as they point out, there are men who are known to have same-sex partnerships with other men, but because their partners are very traditionally feminine and they are traditionally masculine, they can still earn the label of normal guy. And other men were able to keep that label, even though they would frequently, go into their bathroom with their buddy and give a little down at the bar every now and then. They have a wife, no one really knew about it, or it was kept so private that it didn't disrupt society, and so it wasn't, a big deal. Meanwhile, and perhaps unsurprisingly, women were afforded a lot less grace. An older man named Degollado, who has considerable same-sex experience, talked about how for women, if they're known to be cheating after getting married, people will collectively participate in enacting social death, shunning her, shaming her, etc. And so women were afforded a lot less flexibility when it came to being labeled as recogida or proper, or sinvergüenza or shameless. There's been a ton of online discourse lately about DL men and men who have sex with men and whether they're out about it or not and married or not and blah, blah, blah. And each of those conversations varies based on cultural subgroup and geography and all sorts of factors. And as people weigh in on these things, as they are wont to do, it might be helpful to think about the ways we categorize, the dimensions of sexuality that we emphasize, about gender differences and expression and performance, and, especially relevant, reputation. And I would also love to hear from Mexican folks if this study kind of resonates with what you see about gender and sexuality, especially among adult men, or if it misses the mark, or if some of these dynamics are just not comparable between Mexico and the US context.
So I'm seeing all these posts about Mexican DL fathers, and I want to tell y'all that the most dangerous man you can ever encounter, it is not a Navy SEAL. No, it is a DL man trying to keep his secret from the world. I mean, if you find out one of these dudes is DL, I promise you, bro is going to be unstoppable. He gonna be Super Saiyan 3 Goku. Like, he might be Perfect Cell at trying to eliminate you.
Trigger Modelo and be like, yo, let me touch you, papi.
That is insane work, but there's nothing we can really do for them. Don't out them now. Don't out them, because it might be your last day on Earth. I gave you the warning.
Apparently the topic of Mexican DL men is trending on TikTok. And I was like, really, guys? But then I thought, and I was like, I have a story. My freshman year in high school, when I think this was JV basketball, and I don't know if this counts because my coach was black and Mexican, but one time one of my teammates, he was late for practice, and we're like, yo, where's he at? And then this varsity player comes, and he's bugging out. He's like, y'all are gay, and starts making fun of us. And we're like, what? And then he tells us that he caught the player that was missing doing some stuff in the bathroom with another dude. And my coach was like, what? So then then the varsity player tells my coach, and my coach was like, well, was he giving it or receiving it? And then the varsity player was like, get on the line. And then we just ran suicides because my teammate was late. And when he came to practice, nobody confronted him. We just pretended that it didn't happen. But, years later, me and my friends still talk about it because it was kind of funny. But that was my story.
Your nigga's on the down low, if this came across your timeline. And for my non-black viewers, because I don't want to hear you say it, your man is probably on the down low too. Now, I got a whole man in this bed right now, and I used to be a DL myself. So I'm going to show you how you can spot a DL man from a mile away. Now, I woke up to this many comments and Jesus Devante Christ from women saying that DL men smell like booty. He smells like booty. Now, the search of that video being DL man smell is crazy. But here are some actual signs. And do y'all mind if I dye my hair while we do this? Bet. Now, when y'all said DL men smell like booty, I'm gonna have to stop you right there. I know I said on the last video that you could smell it when one shows up. But where y'all went with that is actually homophobic and is no different than me saying all women smell like period blood or that y'all can't drive. Them is stereotypes. When I was DL, I don't understand what they would say they smell like us. You know what actually gave me away? And I actually had somebody clock me on this? The comment section. Now, back in the day when IG was messy and would tell you what your friends would comment on people's pictures, that's exactly how I got caught. By my best friend's girlfriend. She said she knew the second she saw what I commented. Now, while you're on social media, go ahead and check the following list too. If the guy to girl ratio is off, and he follows more pretty dudes than pretty ladies, I got news for you. Now, speaking of best friends, if he treats the bros better than he treats women, if he spends more time with them than he does with you, he's DL. You're not gonna like me for this one, but most black men that only fuck white girls are DL. They come knocking on my door usually. This is a big one. Is he a hoe? If he has at least 3 kids with multiple women, Now, in my DL days, I've probably hooked up with just under 1,000 people. Never had an STD. Thank you, Jesus. We've all been hoes before, but there's a certain level of fucking that DL men do because you just can't scratch that itch. Which brings me to my next point. Strong feelings towards women. A lot of men hate women, but y'all already know that. Now I'm talking he hates his mom, his sisters. He competes with women. He's mean to women, but nice to men, because some people are just mean to everybody. There's a reason he doesn't have good relationships with women. Red flag. Now back to the friends. If he has a friend that doesn't like you or treats you weird, that's the one he's fucking. You the side piece. You're in the way of their relationship. You the cover, baby. Now this one's obvious. We all can recognize this. Macho men. If he says, yo, I ain't with that gay shit. Yeah, I'm cool with you, but keep the gay shit over there to one of your gay friends. He's one of your gay friends. You know what's actually funny? Straight married men are the gayest men I know. Most straight men spend most of their time with their girlfriends or their wives. They ain't no clocker. They be kikiing with their girl. They'll watch baddies with their girl and act like they wasn't even into the show. Ones that are afraid to look gay or be even remotely close to femininity, it's DL.
Fam, the dude that exposed Mexican men for being DL, thank you for being the friend. Cause bitch, I feel so validated. I fucking knew it. I knew it. Listen, I traveled to Mexico a lot. Love Mexico. Shit, I'm here now. And I would go to this gym. It's a popular gym. Everybody goes there. And I would be looking at it's not everybody, obviously, but certain men I would look at and be like, especially because, listen, when you leave America, men relate to each other in a very different way. Less like they have a wider emotional range is the best way to put it. But baby, I would look at these dudes, especially with like this super like jacked up, like masculine, the people who try to force their masculinity, like they really try to exude a masculine. They always, nah, you ain't getting past me. I always would feel a type of way, no matter where I am in the world, about men like that. But in Mexico, and again, like at the gym, I would look at these men and I'd be like, yo, because it just seemed like this was a body type that they were really trying to put on to show how much of a man they were. And I wondered if they ever thought, like, it gives gay, babe. Turns out they do. Turns out they do. They do.
So a TikToker came out and stated that a lot of Mexican dads do not like their sons for being. However, a lot of the times those same dads would then go on beverage runs with their friends and then be doing things with their friends who so happen to be men. Now, from that conversation, a bunch of people within the Mexican community, or within the Latino community, started coming out and speaking about their own experiences with their DL men in their family. Honest, this conversation has been going on for over a week because another TikToker came out recently and said the reason that this conversation is blown up is because Black Americans are now participating in the conversation. From that video, now it's been spun into saying, no, this has actually been talked about within the Mexican community. It's not necessarily the Black Americans' fault. Now, here are my thoughts on this. I did not know that this is a whole thing going on within the community. I know there's DL within each community, right? But I just never think about like, yeah, what's going on over here in the Mexican dad community? I don't know. Very interesting stuff. I will say though, if you do not want the conversation to spawn out into other communities, maybe not bring in other communities' names, right? Because now I'm telling you, open the conversation up to the rest of Black Americans. A lot of the videos I've seen from Black Americans has been within the last 24 hours, even though the conversation has been going on from over a week ago. All right. So if you do not want your conversation to go out into the other communities, maybe just don't mention them.
I don't know how I ended up on this side of TikTok, but I have been seeing nothing but Latin or Hispanic men that are on the DL on my timeline. Crazy, right? Growing up, I've always heard and seen that Hispanic men do not tolerate, any type of homosexuality in their households, especially from their children. If your children are like that, they would literally disown them. But when I travel to Mexico, when I travel there pretty much throughout the year, you always see early in the morning, you'll see men dress up like women and they're prostitutes working the streets and corners. People laugh at them, and they're like, oh my God, they look gross. But who's paying for those services? If they're dressed up on corners at 7, 6 o'clock in the morning, clearly somebody's paying for that. And we already know a man would pay for those services, not a woman. A woman's not interested in being with another man dressed up like a woman. Only a man would be interested. And my thing is, they put up this persona where they have to be very masculine and protecting and, you know, all those things. But at the same time, you're hiding something. You're definitely hiding something, because there's no way somebody that claims that like they hate that lifestyle, but yet you're paying for those services. Usually they say the ones that hate the way another lifestyle lives, it's usually because they're living that exact same lifestyle.
I can describe to you exactly what a DL man is. And if that man is really DL, you will never know. I don't think a lot of y'all understand, especially y'all that don't want to believe that a man is gay, or y'all, oh, he getting all these hoes, and oh, he don't do shit but fuck bitches. I can never see him being gay. He got so many kids. DL means down low. Down low means not that many people know. This is not the type of down low that goes across the whole gay community and the gay community know that he's gay. No, DL, down low, is one of those people that you will never know that they gay. He present himself as a heterosexual man. He live his life as a heterosexual man, but he's DL. There's nothing you can point out ever if you are dealing with a real DL man. And I'm not saying this to try to scare females, but the truth is the fucking truth. You will never be able to pick out who is a DL man if he is the real definition of a DL man. Y'all gotta stop. I'm telling y'all right now, y'all gotta stop that thinking y'all can pick out certain characteristics or certain mannerisms that men do that would tell y'all if they DL or gay or not. Y'all have to stop that. You will never know if that man is a real DL man. It'll slip right past you.
Okay, so I've been seeing the whole DL Mexican dad trend, and it doesn't just stop with like Mexican dads. It's pretty prevalent in a lot of cultures, not just Mexican culture, but definitely I've seen myself how this kind of being in an adjacent Latino community and growing up around a lot of Mexican people and culture, and just generally having a lot of similarities with Mexican people and Peruvian people in the Latino world. I've also seen how this like down low or DL man behavior, the negative aspects of it, because there's a part of like, you know, your sexuality that is, you're entitled to explore your sexuality. I believe that. I believe that as a human being, you are entitled to explore that. Your body, your likes, your wants, your needs. Then comes the idea that you should be doing that with consent. And yeah, that's all I have to say on that. But obviously, because sexuality and being queer, being gay, expressing love or expressing sexual desires in a way that is not conforming to societal norms isn't always possible, repression occurs, and repression does something awful to the human psyche and to behaviors. So obviously, like, these issues become stories of abuse. And when a child goes through abuse, or when anyone goes through abuse, but specifically children, a lot of the times abused people will repeat the same pattern as we've seen. What terrifies me about this is that I have a young son. His father was extremely abusive to me. We were in a very short-lived relationship before I ended up pregnant. I was sexually assaulted, and then I found out that I was pregnant. After this fact, he continued to be extremely abusive and is now withholding my child from me. He was able to get an attorney. He accused me of everything in the book and involved CPS and pretty much did everything he could to get his hands on my child. And at one point, he did vow to kill me. He told me that I am going to kill you and I'm going to take Marcelo. Verbatim, that's what he said to me, among other horrible, terrifying things that honestly I didn't believe at that time. I thought he was just like, you know, having an episode or freaking out or just like really angry and trying to intimidate and control me. But like now at this point, like I'm not so sure that those were just threats. So I am very worried for my son. And the reason I bring up the DL Mexican men is because my son's father is a Mexican man. He grew up in a household with other Mexican men, specifically with one abusive Mexican man who his mother was dating and continues to have as her partner. I'm not sure whether or not they're married or what the situation is with them, but they still live together. They're still together despite there being multiple accounts of like abuse and just general, like, he would tell me these very sad stories about how he grew up in that household and about the things he had endured as a child. And obviously alcoholism is a part of his story. And I think it touches all of us in different ways, but specifically, like his family, his stepdad was very alcoholic. His family had very, very deep alcoholic tendencies. And this really scared me because he would tell me of instances where his stepfather would be very abusive to his mother and towards him. And this just makes me think, like, what is at the center of this violence? What is at the center of this harm? And that's what this trend is really making me think about. And yeah, I pray for my son every day. I am doing everything I can to be as close to him in proximity, but also just fighting for him in court, sharing my concerns with the judge in the court, even though they literally do not care what I have to say. But anyways, yeah.
Guys, the DL Avengers came together and got Mexican Thanos' page banned. All for speaking the truth. If you've been watching the saga of DL Mexican Dad TikTok, then you absolutely know who Mexican Thanos is. He is the man who is healing a generation by sharing stories of Mexican Theos and dads who are on the down low. Mexican Thanos has a burner account, and he wants to let everybody know that he's proud of y'all. He's proud of your healing, and he's proud of all of y'all telling your story. And you know what? Me too. If you want to give Mexican Thanos a follow, which, by the way, I call this man Mexican Thanos because he's clearly taking no prisoners, and he's clearly rewriting the timeline. Not because of how he looks, but I ain't gonna lie. When y'all started pointing it out, if y'all want to follow Mexican Thanos' new page, you can go to Ben Dover Fordick. Yup, that's his name. Or you can just click on the comment. It's also great to know that Ben Dover is in good spirits. And lastly, I just want to say to the DL Avengers, you can't silence the truth.
Regarding the Mexican drama, yes, I've seen stuff like that in construction. Why? Because since 2021, I've been working in the construction area, specifically delivering cheap rock or drywall, however you prefer to call it. And yeah, so I don't know why you blame Mexican for that. Like, and it's not even all the Mexicans, you know. You mentioned Mexican, but you're forgetting that there is a lot of nationalities in Central America. I don't know why you're just mentioning Mexicans. You gotta understand too, like this is worldwide. This is not only Mexicans. And you heard the stories of the Jews in Queens, because they all do that, and everybody knows. So I don't know why you're complaining. The only reason is like because this is coming out. Now people are paying attention. There's been Dominican too, and Puerto Rican too, and Cuban too. Like us, there's no nationality for that. Have you seen the Habibis? Have you heard the stories? No. The only thing you blame me Mexican is because now people is talking about it. That's it. And you all gonna continue seeing things like that in TikTok or I don't know any other platform, because darkness is rising. And when darkness rises, what it does is it take everything suppressed, put it on the top, and then lights expose it. That's why the light is expose everything. That's why that thing is coming out. Entienden ahora? This war is an hypocrisy. You know what hypocrisy is? Yeah, that's right, hypocrisy. Especially the United States.
The number one biggest sign that your man is DL, and I know this because I've talked to them, I've experienced multiple of them, and I've talked to them and I've gotten inside their little heads. They all consistently treated women like trash. They were all terrible to women. Serial cheaters. They're always on some other girl's Instagram. They take a long ass time to text you back. Dude, it's because they're busy texting a dude. Like I think one of them told me that he literally didn't like any of the women that he dated, and he kind of just pretended to like them. And not just like them, like they like actively disliked them, like they didn't like them. That's so crazy to me that you can be with someone that you dislike. Like they didn't like them, they hated them. So yeah, it's the dudes that treat you like garbage. It's because they're giving princess treatment to another dude.
Y'all just now figuring out about all these DLs. Y'all talking about the DL Mexican dads and the DL Mexican uncles. They've been DL. They have been actually, hold on. There's been gay people since the start of human history. And it's the fact that, there are so many gay guys. So many gay guys. Literally, they're everywhere. But the problem is this society makes them feel like they're not accepted, and they feel like they gotta be hyper masculine and all that stuff, so, we don't get to see them. Which is a little sad because, I wish people could be themselves more and be exactly fully who they are. But they're pressured to not be who they are. They're pressured to be masculine and stuff, but I'm telling you guys, this is nothing new. They're everywhere. It's not just DL Mexican dad. It's DL everybody. Okay, everybody. Like, trust me. I know it's like it's so common, y'all. It's kind of crazy.
Deals are the topic of discussion, so let me chime in. So once upon a time I was 18 and my best friend's stepdad, Mexican, real cool, real chill. One time I remember that he offered me a deal, and I remember that I didn't take him up on that offer. I was too naive back then, but it was happening, and I was wondering, I was like, does he do that with other people? I'm like, I don't know, but I think it's more of just toxic masculinity and men not being able to show their true emotions because they were raised that showing emotions is wrong. And, you know, I was raised around Mexicans, so I feel like it's just my experience. But, yeah, I mean, I didn't take him up on that offer, though, because I wanted to. But I just called him out in front of his whole family when they were all eating dinner together, because if I didn't do that, I was going to go ahead and take him up on the deal, so...
Everyone is so entertained with the DL men, but can we talk about the PDF files that we have in our own families? Our uncles? Our dads? The one tío that hugs you a little too hard? The one tío that puts his hand a little too low? Because yeah, we have DL Mexicans, but we also have PDFs like no other. And you know what happens when we try to tell people about those PDFs? PDF files? They get defended. The women stand 10 toes down. The moms, the grandmas, the aunts, all of them. They stand 10 toes down with them. It was your fault. You did it. You shouldn't have been wearing that. You're lying. That's not true. And then the young girls, the cousins, the sisters end up talking and finding out later, years down the line, that they went through the same torture. They went through the same trauma. Talk about that. Expose that.
It's nothing new. These men have always been DL, and they're all married with families, homophobic. God forbid one of their sons turns out gay, because they will vocalize their disagreement with one of their sons to be gay. But they'll leave their phone number to a gay server at the local restaurant. Years ago, I talked about the same subject, how the most macho Latino men are the gayest of all. And there's one thing they're really good at, is staying in the closet. Nobody likes to talk about it, but we all know it's happening. They're afraid how the community is going to view their sexual orientation. Because after all, the Mexican culture is identified by such machismo upbringing. They know that their father would never approve of a gay son. Because as long as they can remember, Dad bought them their little hat, their little belt, a solid pair of jeans, and the straightest pair of boots. But underneath all of that is a very gay man. I feel bad for the women, because a lot of these women have no idea why their man mistreats them, puts them down. But the reality is there's a lot of frustration in these men because they can't openly have the lifestyle that they want. And instead, they have to hide their true identity under their wives' skirts and delantales. If you know, you know.
As a half gay or half Mexican gay individual who is seeing this trend going around about the gay Mexican fathers and families that people don't know about, and someone who studied a little bit of psychology, you know how they say people, the things that we talk about hating in other people is secretly the things we hate about ourselves? You know how and why Hispanic dads are most of the time homophobic? That's how the cookie crumbles.
The DL Mexican conversation is so interesting especially when you live in California, and in certain areas you really start to see like some of those Mexican DL dads on Grindr. Like, especially the San Fernando Valley area. Like, bitch, if you ever been in San Fernando Valley, that's where they be. That's where they be. Go on Grindr out there. You'll